saying, stop me if you heard this one. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. You would think that that would still be in play with a lot of other things today in life, but it's not. It really isn't. And I'm going to bring up why. There's a lot of times I read news articles like most of us online do when we're talking about anime or talking about video games or whatever the hell anyone on here is doing or talking about. But sometimes I catch a news article that just kind of like, I understand having a controversial topic at hand. You are a news article. I get it. But I just have issues with this particular news article. But CBR, and I'm not going to say this gentleman's name, but it's right here on the article. Sorry, Mushoku Tensei makes Crunchyroll's new hit anime look like a generic isekai. I can find at least 3 things wrong with that sentence right now. At least. One, I'll give you one right now. It's not isekai. It's not an isekai. What do you... let me break this down further. So, in this article, he basically goes over why Mushoku Tensei is better than Sentenced to Be a Hero. Okay. I'm not really arguing on that. I'm a huge MT fan, so I'm not going to really hate on it. But what I'm seeing is he's basically crapping all over Sentenced to Be a Hero. For what? Sentenced to Be a Hero is really good. The animation is, if not on par with MT, it's really very close. And that's the subtlety of it, is that it basically looks like almost a 1-for-1 to that. So I can see why he tried to make some comparison, but you know, why would you do that? Because later in the article, it goes down further to say that the problematic nature of Mushoku Tensei and like the isekai nature of it and all that gives it more depth to the story. Okay. Mushoku Tensei is like 3 seasons in with a huge ass light novel. Of course it has more depth. I don't know much about Sentenced to Be a Hero, and I do know that it has a manga, but like I don't know if the story matches up to MT. And even if it didn't, there's no reason for you to call it out like that. This is still a good anime. Like, that's ridiculous. And then as I go further down the article, my guy continues to basically crap on Sentenced to Be a Hero for being quote unquote generic compared to MT. We're still wrapped up in a mystery for Sentenced to Be a Hero. We're only in the first episode. We don't even have the second episode. How dare you put an article out talking about that it's a generic isekai? It's not even an isekai. It's just a fantasy anime. You don't even know what you're talking about. Like, what? And then I go further on, and then he goes back into talking about MT, and it's like, okay, he's going into the nature of like, you know, the stuff with the anime. I don't want to ruin it, but there's a lot of problematic, as some people say it, even though it's just anime, it's problematic natures in the anime, but it's not really. It's just a story. And even that, it's a fantasy story based in another world that has no connection to our own. And people try to make these weird connections to it, and it's just like, don't do it. You're ruining the story for you and for me. Like please. It's just, I was so stunned by when I read this. And I know I've seen some people post on Twitter about it. I've seen some people post online about it. Like, why even compare the two? Why even compare the two? It's not necessary. Yes, they have the same art style. So what? That's really all you need to leave it off on. You could even said this is a good, you know, placeholder if you're itching for some MT. Like, I would have took that. This was, here, watch Sentenced to Be a Hero. This is a good anime to watch while you're waiting for MT to come back. Best article. That would have been great. You could have been glazing 2 different animes. Instead, you had to crap on one while not really complimenting the other. You were, but you weren't. I don't know. And then at the end, I know I saw it. Hold on, let me see. Here we go. Right here. So even further down the line, he and like I said, towards the end of the article, he really blows me away right here. I'll read this whole paragraph just so you can get an understanding of what I'm explaining that he read. It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, and Rudius is quite literally trying to unlearn all his bad habits in real time in front of the viewer. He is, which makes it, it's great. It's good character building. Sometimes that can make for humorous and awkward moments. Other times it can be downright disgusting and creepy. And that's the nature of the challenging subject matter of MT and actively deals with, and there absolutely nothing is even close to that in Sentenced to Be a Hero. So, how do I start? First episode, MT first episode. He did like progressively learn, but he didn't really grow in the first episode. He was still doing perverted stuff. He was still kind of him, but learning to be in a new body and learning that his old life was over. He can be someone else. That's not the case in Sentenced to Be a Hero. It's not even close to the same type of story. And then again, I'm going to read this part. That's what makes it a bit mind-blowing that Sentenced to Be a Hero is even being called the less problematic Mushoku Tensei. First off, that's dumb. It's not problematic. Neither one is problematic. Second off, don't even compare them that way. They're not even the same type of genre of anime. Like, yes, the artwork looks the same, but that's it. And he says that, he knows that, but yet he continues to go on to shit on the anime. And like, it's crazy because that problematic nature is part of the Mushoku Tensei's narrative. It's not problematic. It's just anime. Without it, it's just another generic isekai story set in a fantasy world. It's not an isekai. It's just a fantasy story. And it's not generic. You don't even know what happened. In fact, it's so much mystery to it. I rewatched the first episode just to see a couple things that I didn't notice in the first watch through. Sentenced to Be a Hero has a lot of mystery in the background. It's insane. Like, it's not the same type of story. It's not the same type of genre. It's not even close to being in the same type of world as far as we know. So the fact that he even tried to compare these based further than the fact that the animation looks the same is insane. I don't know. But I read CBR articles all the time, and a lot of times they say some crazy stuff. But like, you know, honestly, this one just takes the cake. I just didn't appreciate this. Like, and then we already didn't get the second episode because it was, for whatever reason, held back or it didn't come out this week. But you know, still, I can't allow that. Plus, the character art and Sentenced to Be a Hero is just, oof, it's just amazing. Same with MT. Like, I don't know. I feel like you could have did better comparing the two and saying, hey, Sentenced to Be a Hero is out. You should check this out instead of waiting for MT or hurting your head over MT not being here. Like something or other, comparing the two or glazing both instead of this. You didn't have to do this. You didn't have to do this. Oh man. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. This is Otaku Jive. Please like and subscribe and comment on the video if you have anything you want to say about it, or if anything you want to say about this article, because I want to hear what people have to say, because this blew me. This blew me. Thanks for watching.